Hi, how are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. Here it's 3 p.m. I think from your end it's kind of in the morning, right?
Yeah. It's mid-morning. It's like almost 8 a.m.
We're really good. Right now, actually, we're finishing the program in the radio. So
Sweet.
we're with all the attitude. What about you?
Yeah, I'm just hanging at a TV station about to go on like a morning breakfast show. But I'm really excited to talk to you guys. I love Mexico. It's a huge part of my heart. I was just down in Mexico City working with a local Mexican artist by the name of Alex Sintek.
Oh yeah, I know
Alex
him.
Yeah, he's so wonderful. I went to his house. We hung with the family. Also, I hung with Armando Avila, the genius himself,
Wow.
and this was very exciting. So, Mexico has always been a big part of my life.
Wow, we really expect for you to come here to beside enjoying all the amenities that we have here in Mexico for you to have a show here. It would be really cool.
Yeah, we got to have a show. Obviously, with my other band, Empire of the Sun, we've played many times, but never with Pnau.
Yeah, it would be so cool because, as you mentioned, we with Empire of the Sun, we love that project. But we now, I think it's something special, something that you have been working since the 90s, and that right now, well, in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, is when it was official now, correct?
Yeah,
That's so cool.
correct.
Without those new vibes, I think it would be so amazing for you to be here in Mexico.
Yeah, would love to. We've been working with a young Mexican band as well, a little bit called The Warning. Do you know this band?
I think so. Maybe I saw them. So
They're
I'm.
like all girls, heavy metal, like proper rockers.
Oh, yeah.
And my good friend Rudy Joffroy, he manages them, and he was the guy who hooked us up in Mexico many years ago to shoot our amazing videos in Mexico for Empire of the Sun.
Wow. So yeah, definitely something between them and you guys. It would be so cool to have you here.
Would love that.
So now, what's coming for you in this case? Talking about now, because I know that it was a huge boom with that remix from Elton John.
Yeah, once we did Cold Heart, things really changed for us. I've been fortunate through my career to have many moments of sort of serendipity where something comes in and your whole world gets turned upside down. And the latest one being Cold Heart, with thanks to Elton and Dua Lipa, of course. It opened up the doors. We signed a big record deal with Sony in Germany, and now we've been working with some of the craziest, biggest stars in the world, with Troy Sivan, BB Rexa, and now with Khalid. And we have more on the go. We just got in the room with Ava Max. It's a crazy time. It's a magical time.
Wow. And as far as I know, this is not the first time that you work with Elton John. You actually made some songs in the past for Elton John for a new version of one of his albums, correct?
Yeah, Elton and I made an album, and we also I composed with Elton a Cirque du Soleil show that lived in Las Vegas for 5 years. It was at Radio City Music Hall for about a year. We ended up selling about 1 million tickets. And if you don't know Cirque du Soleil, it is the circus without animals.
Yeah, that's so
It's
cool.
a cruelty-free circus.
That's so cool, yeah, because with all what it was going on with the animals, I think that was the best decision to do some shows without that cruelty to the animals.
Yes, exactly. We need to protect our animal friends.
That's right. Also, I know that in Australia they have a lot of diversity talking about animals and fauna, correct?
Yeah, as I was coming here and this morning, the birds, the dawn chorus of kookaburras, it's something like, and the visitors, they freak out by this sound, but the locals, we're like, what a beautiful sound.
That's a true. I have a question. Maybe you can tell me if it's true or not. But there is some seasons where there's a lot of spiders, like going around the cities.
There's
And
a lot of spiders in the house I live now. We have these ones called redbacks,
uh-huh.
and one bite of the redback, and you may die, but it's okay. We're friendly. We don't we give each other space.
Okay, that's so cool. So you were talking that right now you're working with different artists. Right now, for example, with Kelly, that it's a really good singer and composer. How what can we expect for a few months for your project?
Well, yeah, as you said, the Khalid song is coming out, sort of just came out, and we're going back into the studio very soon. I also have music. This is the first time in 7 years. It's a very, very exciting time for us. So the world for me now is exploding in colors and flowers in all sorts. Working with Khalid is like a dream of mine. It turns out that he was a fan of a very underground band of mine called Blossom, as well as Empire, and it's uh, it's just I'm tripping all the time now. It's like I'm on mushrooms, but I'm not. I'm just happy. It's like it's a beautiful time to be alive.
And obviously, a big shout out for that remix that opened those doors for the project. Because from personally, that remix, it was not only for your band, also it was for actually Elton John. That after that new remix that it was viral, everyone was looking for you, was looking for Elton John, was looking for Dua Lipa, because it was such a big boom that here, for example, in Mexico, you were hearing the song everywhere. If you went to a restaurant, you were hearing the song. If you went to the actual bride's wedding, you were hearing the song. So here in Mexico, it was a big boom. So how was that feeling of from morning to night that you noticed that people was loving that remix?
It was surreal. It's happened a couple of times in my career where you put a song out and then you kind of forget about it for a moment. And I was walking I remember in New York City in the Lower East Side, and a car streamed past, and there's Cold Heart pumping out the window. I turn a corner, I walk past the store, and there's Cold Heart playing on the stereo. And then I get into a taxi, and there's Cold Heart coming at me at the radio. And suddenly I realize I cannot escape this song. You cannot get in the way of a hit. A hit will just find its way in every part and permeate society and with love and joy. And it's a dream, this sort of thing.
That's so cool. Who came with the idea of doing this version of Cold Heart?
Really, we tried, the three of us, Peter, Sam, and myself, we tried 15 different songs with a combination of 4 or 5 Elton songs, but it was Peter, my lifelong musical partner. We've been making music since we were kids, who really carried this song and made the true magic. I may have started the edit, but he was the one who really brought it together, and all power to Peter.
That's so cool because you as a team, you complement each other. Like you do the intro, now he did the drop, the build up, the producing. At the end of the day, there is another person involved. So for those that they don't know, you're a team of 3 people that it's working all the time with the projects. And I think each of you put something special into all the songs in specific. And for this song, it can truly feel the collaboration between you.
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to come together in a sort of brotherhood. Um, when you're younger, it's easy to be jealous and all this sort of stuff, but we've managed to ride the storm and to a place now where I guess there's a kind of mindfulness and a deep respect for each other. So if one can't, for example, I'm out in Australia now touring. Peter couldn't come because he had to stay home with his children, and we look after each other. You know.
That's so cool. If you right now you had a chance to make a song with any artist that it's in the scene, who would you pick?
There's so many, but I'm really loving 070 Shake right now, and that would be a real dream for me to work with her. But I don't know. There are so many, right? I mean, it's a tricky question because I really say yes to every single opportunity. I was just in South Korea last week, and I worked with folk music ensemble, very strange music. And then I was just in Tokyo 3 days ago, and I made an album with a synthesizer wizard, like a kind of like Gandalf of synths, and he's got this long hair, and he makes the craziest sounds.
So you took everything that you visited, for example, right now that you're in tour. So you take every piece of inspiration to create new sounds and to create something different.
You know, I'm always looking to create a psychedelic place within the ordinary, to take people out of their lives and into a dream state. You know, this is really my mission in life, is to elate people in a way that brings us closer to a deeper resonance with earth and spirituality.
That's so cool. Do you remember the first touch with you and the music?
Yeah. I think the first song that I really loved, I think it was by ABBA, weirdly. It was called Money, Money, Money. But since then, my first real love was industrial music as a like a 10, 11-year old, because I had older brothers. And then the rave found me at about 13. And I started sneaking out from home and going into the city and dancing till dawn in warehouses with people much older than me. Peter and I did this, and we got in all kinds of trouble.
I think everyone, the first time that we go to a party, to a concert, it's sometimes some ways tricky to get there, but we always make the way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the very first concert I went to, my parents took me to, was Fleetwood Mac, and and then years later, I ended up writing music with Lindsey Buckingham, the songwriter in Fleetwood Mac. So this is it's a crazy dream, you know.
Yeah, it's something crazy. And I think when we realize that we're achieving those goals that at the beginning we set up, it's something beautiful that it goes into the heart. And any advice that you want to tell anyone that is going into this path of the music?
Yeah, I think always stay open and never say no. You know, in Japan, they have no word for no. And I think this works well with music. You have to stay open and say yes to every opportunity. So I will write with anyone. I could write with Elton John, but I could also write with someone who's just picked up a guitar for the first time. You know, I'm completely fluid in this way. And I think good ideas, they come and they bless every one of us. Everyone is musical.
That's so cool. And also with social media, that right now it's a really big tool to be able to share that information, that music knowledge, and everything to people. I think it's the best way to right now share all that music inspiration, right? Or how do you feel about the social media going into the part of the music?
I think there are good and bad aspects of it. I love that we can share good thoughts with a much larger audience. And I really believe the role of the artist is to heal the masses.
Yeah. And as you mentioned before, there's good paths and bad paths, but the way that you are doing it is always a good path. I always seen that music inspiration, that way to actually connect with people, and I think it's the best way to be able to connect with younger generations and the generations that grew up like listening to your music.
Yeah, I agree. I really think that it is our duty, and the same with you, that when we have a voice that is amplified.
I think we lost the connection right there. Now I can hear you. Okay. But yeah, so that's something really cool. So thank you so much for sharing all those tips. We hope to see you here with either of the two projects, with Power of the Song, with Now. Anything that you want to share with your Mexican fans?
That we will be there soon, and we're thinking of each and every one of you every single day. And there aren't enough tacos in the world for me to eat, because I love your food so much. I love your culture. I drink too much mezcal, but that's okay, because it's okay, you know. I just love Mexico. It's such a beautiful, magical place, and you're deep in the heart of me.
Thank you so much. So I can assure you that next time you come to Mexico, we're gonna bring to you one of the best mezcals here in Mexico, and also the very good food that you can taste here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks to you. Big hug to Australia.